you have a preference what side I sit on?
You can sit there.
Okay.
Got this one pointing on it, so.
Sounds good.
All right. So I don't know if you've looked up much about Mission 6 or what.
I've not. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I had an idea back in, it was not that long ago, this past Veterans Day.
Okay.
I was at Applebee's and having my free veterans dinner. And there was a bunch of veterans just sitting around the table or whatever. And I figured by the end of the night, so many of them are just going to leave and nobody's going to know their story. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they share their story, but so I got brave enough to ask. I scribbled down like 6 questions. And the couple next to me decided, they were like, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
And then went to the next. So
nice.
I got quite a few there.
On camera or just face to face?
On camera.
Okay.
And that was what the tricky thing was.
Yeah.
There was a guy there. There was a couple guys there that were like, yeah, they read the questions. They're like, oh, these are really good questions. But I don't want to do it on camera.
Okay.
So I understood that. But yeah, so and then from there, I started thinking about branching out to first responders as well. But the whole point is, like, there's a lot of shows out there that highlight like SEAL Team 6 and all these great stories that we should hear and know about. But the everyday veteran, there's very few outlets that, I guess, shine the light on why people joined. And sometimes even like the mundane military MOS gets overlooked. And all that has to be done. And essentially, even though it's a boring, maybe it's just an admin job, that person did sign a line saying, potentially, I would give my life. Right. And so that's kind of an amazing thing to me. So anyway, all that being said, I have like a rough outline of 6 questions, and it's just supposed to facilitate conversation. So the first one is just to get to know you, is like your background. Like growing up, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? How many siblings do you have? Any military background in your family? All the way up to, like, I guess, leaving high school or right before you joined. Okay.
Yeah, so I was born in upstate New York. Actually born in Ithaca Hospital. My parents were from Watkins Glen, Montour Falls area.
Oh, yeah.
They were born and raised there. So I lived there till I was 7. My dad worked at Shepherd Niles doing like overhead crane factory work. In 1990, we moved to Elmira. I was there for 7 years. My dad worked there at a marketing company. Lost his job in 95, and then 97 moved on to Mansfield. So Mansfield's kind of where I was, kind of my hometown. Age 14 on up, I was all my adolescent, teenage years were there. So I made my friends at. I had some friends, but I went to 6 different schools growing up. So never at one school for very long. So I knew a lot of folks, but I didn't have a lot of lifelong friends at the end of my schooling career. I have 9 siblings. I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers. Okay. So growing up, military stuff was never a huge part of our lifestyle. My mom's stepdad did serve in the military as a Commonwealth NCO in Germany. He did 4 years and got out. Never saw any conflict per se. So watching, John Wayne movies and war movies growing up, but never had a military presence in my family per se. Moved to Mansfield in 97, went to Mansfield High School for 9th and 10th grade, and then New Covenant for 11th and 12th grade. My plans coming out of high school were to go to college at Penn Tech for heavy equipment operation. I had no aspirations for the military. It was not in my 5-10 year plan at all. And as FAB tests came around, they administer at your schools, and the recruiter was talking to the students, kind of, what's your plan for life? My plan was to go to Penn College for heavy equipment. And at the time, there was a unit in Mansfield, 5 minutes from my parents' house, that was a armor group. So they had tanks there. Tanks are 68 tons. They're pretty heavy. And he kind of said, tanks are heavy equipment. Would you ever think about going to the military? We'll help pay for your college. This was in 2000. The 2000 was obviously pre 9/11. Life was pretty calm. Life was pretty cush. You go to college, make some money, have some fun, and get out was kind of the mentality of folks in the military at that time frame. And I had a few older friends who I knew who were in the military, so I went and did a weekend with them, kind of saw what it was for the National Guard, the whole thing. Now their motto is, train here, live here. And it's kind of that, it's not all the way in. It's not, you're not going away full time from your family. You can kind of stay home.
What do you mean you went with your friends who were already in the military for a weekend? They did? That was a program or something?
That was
before you signed?
It was a home, so we did not go down most training from like March to October happens at Fort Indian Gap.
Yes.
In the wintertime, you have home station drills, so you're not traveling as much. So the Armory was right next to the high school in Mansfield, so I went down for, I think, just for a Saturday and got to hang out and just talk to folks. So it wasn't like fully immersed where I'm like on a tank per se, but there was tanks there, and the parking lot back in the day, you could climb around it. So it I kind of looked up to the guy who had mentored me for that day. So
that's cool.
A really cool experience.
Yeah.
So I did not want to do split op. So split op is kind of a National Guard thing where you can do your basic training during your junior, senior summer, and then go to your MOS specific stuff after your senior year. I'd heard goods and bads about that. You can get started earlier, but you miss out on that one summer of life. And so I kind of delayed until August before my senior year. So I joined in August of 2000, and then back then you were able to actually go to your drill weekends. So now they go what's called not pre-IET, maybe it is, but now you go to your own unit, where you are all new trainees, and you have drill sergeants who are kind of just, they're prepping you for whenever you go to basic training. So I was in for almost 11 months before I actually shipped out in July of 2020 or 2000.
That was called, for me, it was called the Pool E program, or something. With the Marine Corps, it was you just went to the recruiter's office every weekend. I should have done this when I had a cough. I don't know if it was every weekend or once a month, but you'd go to their office and they had all the other poolies there, and you basically drilled and ran and went through knowledge and stuff like that.
So it was cool because I was 17 in high school, and I was going down to the Gap for a weekend and going on tanks and doing stuff before I actually went. So it was kind of cool to actually know what I was getting into prior to going to basic training. They did have a 3-5-day crash course where I was like learning your general orders and the rank structure and stuff, which I knew most of it, but right before you went basic training. And back then, Fort Knox was the home of armor. Instead of doing like a basic training and then a job training, it was combined into a 16-week, they called it OSA, one-stop station training. And so you did the same drill sergeants from day one all the way through all 16 weeks. So I went down in July of 2001. You sit in like your reception for a while. I think I started training actually in August.
Right, we'll stop there because that's already after you signed. Right?
Okay, yeah, sorry. I blew through that stuff way too fast. But yeah, for the military, for me, it was kind of joining up. It was like, okay, like, cool, be proud to serve. But like the college thing was pretty nice because many siblings I have, like my parents didn't have a trust fund for me. It was figure your way out through it. And so for me, it was like, I'll get loans. And it's like, well, if I could avoid some loans and also do some pretty cool stuff, for me, it was kind of like, yeah, sure, why not? So my parents signed the waiver. I was 17 when I joined to say, we're good with our son participating in the military. And so, that's how I stumbled into the military kind of per se.
So what, you kind of answered part of this question, but the next one is, what branch did you join and why? So it was the Army National Guard.
Yeah, and I tell some folks, had the Marines come or the Navy's come, I probably would have been pretty agreeable to anybody who had pitched that thing to me. I did not shop around. I did not talk to multiple recruiters. He talked to me at school. He made an appointment, came to my parents' house, and talked it through. And I was like, sure, sounds good. Let's do it. That was kind of a theme of my life. I'd buy vehicles on a whim. I was just a young guy who was like, hey, sure, why not? You don't have anything holding you back per se. So it's kind of like, sure, it sounds good. Let's go try it out. Not really giving it a second thought what the next 20 years might look like.
You made that recruiter's day. Someone had to work pretty hard.
Right.
Okay, so you joined here at Mansfield.
Yes.
And so when you joined, you were reserve then?
So that's the funny thing. People are like, so reserve and guard are technically two different things.
Okay.
So like Army Reserve or Air Force Reserve, whatever, is a federal group, where our National Guard are state funded. Right. So like as a National Guard, you fall under the governor, and you are state funded, where federal is the reserve, and you're falling under federal funds. And so it's different. So like it's a similar concept of obviously the weekends and the 2 weeks in summer, but so Guard is a state-run program. Okay. So
So when you started that, it was still the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the year.
That was pretty.
So you were working outside of that.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. It really was pretty close to that. That was what the sales pitch was. 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, and do your time and serve where you live.
And we'll talk about what you've done in your career, but how many years were you in total?
Just shy of 24. I joined August of 2000, and I exited in May of 2024.
What was your, did you have like deployments I'm assuming you did that took you outside of that or more than the 1 weekend a month?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Obviously, the more you do, any kind of training you do, there's certain years where funding's short. I'd say I went to a school for this many weeks. I would skip my summer camp, but more commonly than not, you were doing both. So I had 4 deployments during that time frame, and then I don't know. I mean, you go to flight school was a year and a half for me, but any kind of promotion school could be from 2 weeks to 5 weeks. So I would say on an average year prior to aviation, I would serve about 2 months a year. Once you get into aviation, you're flying on your own time. So a lot of guys are averaging 1 night a week.
I see.
So it's almost a whole other 2 months almost of like, I would go down schedule oriented and do like 2 days back to back of flying.
At the gap?
Yes, outside of my regular training weekends.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's definitely more than, it's not really a true statement to say 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in summer. That is what your schedule is, but you'll have other training stuff that comes up. And it's just, it's the what you want to make out of it also. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. So if you want to be a minimal soldier or a bare bones, you could probably keep it pretty tight to that. But if you're going to be advancing yourself, going to training, doing other type of stuff, you're going to be going beyond
What were you doing outside of that in civilian world?
Oh, I did everything. So I came back from basic training. I'd already signed up to go to Penn College. I got back home November 4th. And within a month, they were announcing our deployment. So obviously, I'm basic training. 9/11 happens.
While you're there?
While I'm there.
No way. How did that go?
That was complete chaos.
I've heard several stories of like it happening while people were in boot camp. So
yeah. So my scenario was, I'm sure they have it in Marines, like KP, kitchen patrol. You help out in the kitchen for a day. I did probably 2 or 3 times in my 4 months down there. So 9/11, I was there. You go in early. You're going at 4 a.m. You're helping prep, clean up, do stuff. So the scenario of 9/11, I'm out back washing pots and pans.
Okay.
There's a radio playing in the common area out front, like a dining area, but nothing in the back. So I'm back there. One of the advantages of doing that, you eat all the extra food. So obviously you're always starving, skinny kid. I'm chowing down on some extra stuff. Someone comes in and says, hey, a plane just ran into one of the Trade Center towers. And in my mind at the time, I'm picturing some little like 4-person Cessna, some small plane, not really visualizing like a commercial plane. Just kind of like, wow, that's weird. What happened? Did not really give it any kind of thought. Not understanding the severity of it. Obviously, the second plane comes in. It's like, okay, your mind starts shifting. But I never left the kitchen chow hall area for the entire day. So back at the barracks, that happens. Training ceases. They're all in the day room watching it live on TV. I never saw a video of it until 2 months later when I came home.
No way. Wow.
So I really never understood the gravity of it.
Right.
Obviously, the base went into immediate lockdown. So no one left or came on for almost 3 days. So, the ladies who work at the chow hall, they couldn't leave post.
Wow.
Every building had a sentry or a guard posted at. You had to show your ID card to get in and out of your barracks. Just, it got real quick.
Yeah.
And I think some folks had signed up thinking, college money, hang out, and I kind of always equate to like a volunteer firefighter. You don't like, it's not gonna be fire every single day. But when that fire comes, that's what you signed up for. We had some folks go AWOL. We had one kid went and bought E4 rank and took a Humvee and left post like a week later. We were in Kentucky. He was going home to, I think, Indiana or Illinois. Halfway home, he stopped for fuel. He put gas instead of diesel in it. Called his mom because he was panicking. His mom called the state police on him, and they brought him back. And that was just like, it just got real for some kids. Obviously everyone reacts differently, but like, this is what you're there for. And at the end of the day, like, college is great, but like you said, you sign your name on a line saying, I will answer the call should I be called upon.
Right.
So it got real. And I think even from our drill sergeants, it got real for them because it wasn't a matter of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna train you up and send you out. It's like the tanking world is a pretty small world. It's like, I might be next to you.
Exactly.
In a year from now, we might be in the same tank together. And we saw almost more of a human side of them. Like, they were still drill sergeants. They still held us accountable and still did their job. But like, it seemed like there was more of like a, hey,
more gravity.
More gravity. You and I are more alike than we were 2 days ago when we were just like trainer and student kind of a situation. Wow. So that was chaotic. So coming out of basic training, we found out within a month or two we were going to Germany. So over there, I pushed college off. I went to work at Walmart for a while and just kind of did that to fill my time between basic training and my first deployment.
Okay.
So I don't know if you go into like.
We went to Germany.
Yeah, so Germany was a fun tour. We were over there as force protection increasing. So they have like a German company called Pons Guards who do a lot of this stuff. Those civilian security guards, and then we kind of back them up. So we were stationed at Vielsick and Grafenwehr, and it was a 16-day rotation. So for the first 8 days, you were on a gate for 24 hours and then off for 24 hours. So that was the first 8 days, on and off 24 hours a day, a 16-man squad. And you usually were guarding the main gates, checking cars, searching vehicles, what have you. And then you had 4 days where you were on half duty to do like an overflow gate or roving patrol on housing areas. And then you had 4 days where you were completely off to go explore Germany. As a 19-year-old kid, I probably could have traveled more. I mean, the trains are amazing in Europe if you go over there.
Wow.
I wish I had seen more of Europe, but I did see quite a fair amount. But it was, as far as deployments go, it didn't really, you're still in a very westernized type civilization. Most Germans our age spoke English. So it was just, you were just there to kind of help out because those guys were all deploying overseas and they were reducing their security locally. So you're kind of just helping the main effort. It didn't really feel like you weren't going to war. You were one of those support guys in the back.
Yep.
We were combined with a unit from Philadelphia. And
then where was your second deployment?
So then in 2005, I went to Iraq between Fallujah and Ramadi.
Okay.
And that was the real deal. That was an 18-month deployment. You did 6 months of training up. So we did 5 months down in Mississippi training, and then a month in California at the training center. It's kind of like your desert training out there, 10 days off, and then overseas for a year. And that was the first time that National Guard deployed on tanks since World War II.
Okay.
And they kind of joked during training, like, you guys aren't going to be on tanks over there. Like, it's cooler training on this stuff, but you're going to go over there and just be like a regular infantry soldier. You're not going to do tank stuff. We trained our tanks, we fixed our tanks up, and our tanks went over with us, and we were on tanks over there. That was a really intense mission. We were kind of combined with a group out of Williamsport who had Bradleys. So we had Bradleys, we had tanks, they had Bradleys.
Okay.
And our job was to secure 10 kilometers of highway that was a supply route that was mostly blacked out. Like, it wasn't for average passage. Most folks were on like a mission, like a strike mission, or going and doing like collateral damage stuff. They weren't just passing through because it was a very intense area. But 24 hours a day, we had 6 vehicles out there looking for the roadside bombs. I forget the exact stats. I think we found like 370 of them in a 1-year period.
Oh my goodness.
Some find you, you find them. You get better at finding them. It's kind of like a chess game of like how well can they hide them. They use dusk and dawn a lot to try to mask their stuff because they had curfews over there. So usually like from 10 to 6, they couldn't be out.
Okay.
If someone's out, they're doing something bad.
Yeah.
And real quick, like my first day out, it's called left seat, right seat ride. So like 2 guys from the exiting unit go up with 2 guys from the unit who are coming in, and kind of like show you the way.
Show the ropes. Yeah.
I was the platoon sergeant's gunner, so I was out day 1, and within 5 minutes of being outside the wire, we hit our first RPG. Which in a tank, it's kind of like it hit right here in the front, like a glancing blow on the front of the tank. And I'm like, what was that? And they're like, welcome to Iraq. That's your first RPG. So like a tank is very, it's not impenetrable.
Yeah.
There are a few spots you hit it just right, but it was like, okay, like we're in it.
Did it like shake or anything? Or you just?
I heard it. And I was like, what was that? They're like,
like swept through a rock.
I think it was RPG, and you could barely feel it with your fingers outside where it kind of grouped in. That was kind of like, okay, like this is not Germany. This is not like training's over.
Yeah.
This is real now. And it was, we had folks from other units. So the Bradleys carry 7 guys in the back, infantrymen. To expand our tank crews, we brought on some of those ground guys as loaders for us. Loaders kind of the lowest level. We're not going to have a huge firefight where we're loading massive rounds over and over again. They probably handle loading 1 round. So we had guys come on our tanks to increase our crews.
Okay.
So I had a guy named Cesar Ryan Ostrom who came on my tank with me. And I had known his name. I'd never known him personally prior to that. My platoon sergeant was good friends with his dad. His father was a first sergeant also in Williamsport. So he was a known name in the area from Liberty. Good athlete.
Ryan Ostrom?
Ryan Ostrom.
Oh, no way.
So I met Ryan in Iraq.
Yeah.
And he came on my tank. And it was an interesting dynamic at first because I was an E5 and he was an E6. So like, but I was like the platoon sergeant's gunner. So I was like, when he wasn't there, I was in charge of my tank. I was like, that was my tank and my crew when our platoon sergeant wasn't there. So Ryan came on and obviously like he outranks me in the real world, but like on the tank, I had the more experience. So it was a fun dynamic.
I never met him. I just
Yeah.
remember seeing the signs and everything
Yeah.
years ago down around Liberty and everywhere.
So we kind of got there early mid-July. So I had less than a month with Ryan. So that was like, you get to know someone very well when you spend 6 hours inside a metal box with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a complete variety of conversations and questions and play games and just like ways to pass time when you're sitting there at night, just like watching.
Yeah.
So very intense. Like, oh, also I don't know this guy. We're together for a lot of hours a day, and then to have that kind of tragedy strike was like a roller coaster. It was like emotions.
Were you with him?
I was with him. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That's the hard part. Like someone you didn't know at all, you know very well. Talk about anything under the sun, from hunting to school to sports to college to who to politics. You talk about everything. Is it just like?
And you're from basically the same.
You're from the same area. So it was me, Sergeant First Class Wood from Arna area. Ryan's from Liberty, and then a good friend of mine who's from the Athens area was our fourth guy in the tank.
Okay.
So that was August 9th that happened. And then we had the folks rotating through in his position for the next few months. And then October 9th, I got shot and got sent home.
No way.
So it was just like, I was only there for a short term compared to a lot of my fellow guys in the unit, but it was a very active. I mean, we had 3 IEDs that hit us. We found quite a few IEDs. It seemed like a whole year in my mind, looking back, all the events that happened, but it was very compressed into that.
And that was your second deployment?
That was my second deployment.
So if he got killed, I don't even know his story. Yeah. And you got shot, obviously you're outside of the tank.
No. Well, yeah. So he was in a loader position. So like diagram here, I guess.
Yeah.
So you have your driver sits down here below. They're in their own spot in the hall.
Okay.
Tank commander, loader, and the gunner sits down here below, so not exposed at all.
Okay.
Ryan was in the loader's position, so he was facing someone out this direction here.
I see.
When it happened, so he would be exposed, having helmet on, vest on, and then I got on a few times where he was busy. The platoon sergeant, and so I'd run the tank for a while. The day that I got shot, he was actually down in the driver's hole.
Okay.
Switching it up, just like mixing it up. The driver was gunning that day, and we had another kid from Canton who was a loader that day. So the day I got shot was a Sunday. Anytime people were doing like utility work, digging wheelbarrows, they should be coming out and saying, "I have paperwork to do this work." Like I'm not like burying explosives,
right?
And so I had a guy. My platoon leader was down probably 2 kilometers to the east, and he had a guy who was getting ready to change duty stations and go up to Ramadi. And he's letting this young kid run his top part, his tank commander spot that day. And they got shot at that morning, like an hour prior. So there was some stuff going on. There'd be days where it'd be nothing for 3 or 4 days, and then it'd be chaos for a day. And a lot of it was just like, they come up, they shoot at you, and they go away.
See how you react or whatever.
A lot of the buildings have like a 3 or 4 foot wall on top of them, so they can pop up, shoot, go away.
Yeah.
Like when Ryan got shot, I heard the shot, which is like you like your mind trying to think of where was I? I was sitting here through headphones. I'm down in the tank. I wasn't up top that day, so I was a little more vigilant that day when my platoon leader got shot at down the way. But so there was someone between us, and then they had a wheelbarrow, and I was trying to see what they were doing. So I'm this far out of the tank, looking through binoculars, trying to see what's going on. While I'm looking through binoculars, I remember it happened so fast. Obviously, like I remember like hearing it / feeling it, looking down, and immediately seeing like 2 holes in my arm because it went through and through. The guys inside the tank hear me like grunt like I got punched in the gut on the headset. They're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I just got shot." They're like, "What?" I'm like, it was very surreal. Like all the feeling you think you're gonna feel.
Right.
I joke and say it's like a Forrest Gump shot where it's like my arm was put just the right way where it went through the muscle but didn't hit the bone.
No bone. Wow.
Obviously, if a bone, if you hunt deer at all, like it could be a much worse exit wound, damage.
So there was hardly any expansion.
Hardly any expansion.
Wow.
So they're like, sit down. I sit down. And I'm like, binoculars. So I stand up again, get the binoculars off top. But only one shot that happened. It was not a barrage of shots. It wasn't like peppered, like machine gun, like a short burst. So sat down. It's very surreal. Of like, I can't believe
Right.
And my gunner's just like scanning, looking for anything out of place. Someone's running, what per se, but probably they're days later. You sit there and think about, okay, I was facing this direction. It came from this way. Okay, up there, probably in this building over here. Like in the moment, I wouldn't have the mindset to say, oh, 4 o'clock, I'm on top of the building is where I think it came from.
Right. What kind of terrain was it? Urban or
urban? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 4-lane highway, but like more like through like a Williamsport area, where it's not like a high-speed highway.
Yep.
With a dirt berm in the middle of it.
Okay.
Very tore up from all the IEDs.
Yep. Interesting.
And so a lot of 2 to 3 story buildings, maybe a few or 4, most were 2 to 3 story buildings.
Man.
Lining the highway. It was sporadic. There were some houses, some buildings. They're all very blockish, like mud built type buildings. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because you'll see folks on cell phones riding a donkey, or like everything's very compartmentalized. We're like, this family is the butcher. This guy only does tires. Everything's very like, there's no Walmart, there's no super centers. Yeah. You have regular highway overpasses, and then some old, like, it's just very interesting how there's modern things and very old fashioned. A 10-year-old boy who is literally slitting the throat of a goat in the morning, and they're cutting it up in front of you and hanging it, and people are buying their meat for the day. There's no refrigeration for some of these folks. Right. So it's like seeing the Bible time play out while also a Mercedes drives by. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
We're doing both lifestyles here.
That's wild.
But yeah, that was a interesting day. It was a Sunday. I remember going back and have my chaplain come in. I'm like, I'm not making a church today, kind of joking around a little bit. My first heart at the time came to the aid station before I went over to the Marine base. And also when you're in leadership, the responsibility is a very heavy thing. He was very good friends with Ryan's dad. So like, I can't imagine being someone with my buddy's son.
Right.
So I think for him, I'm apologizing to him. I feel like I let him down, that I got shot on his watch. I could see he was very heavy on his face that, this had happened. These are, I feel like we're his kids theoretically. Like, responsibility, take them all over, bring them all home is the goal. Obviously, you never want to lose guys over there. So I felt bad that I like had put myself in that situation where he felt responsible. That it's just it's tough. So then I came home. Funny little backstory, not really funny, kind of funny. My brother was deployed with me, so he had a incident happen 1 week prior where he's younger.
Okay.
So he gets injured and gets sent back to States for surgery. So then I follow him, like almost like exact same spots. Not a super common name. So kind of like, VanLoon, you weren't just here like recently? And it's like, no. So I went through similar stations he goes through Tweedum, then into Baghdad, and then up northern Iraq, into Germany, and then back to Georgia. And we ended up sharing a hospital room in Georgia for a few days. He gets injured. I call home. And obviously time change is much different. So I'm aware that, I'm calling home. It's like 3 a.m. the day. I call home for his story. And my mom just answered the phone, and her first response is, man, how bad is it? No, I'm not calling to say, hey, how's stuff at home? I joke and say that, once she knew he was going to be okay, she goes back, hands the phone to dad, and I tell dad the story. So I get shot the next week, and I call home, and dad's like, hey, and he gives me a whole rundown of how David's doing. Mom's down in Georgia visiting with him, and this and that. And I don't know, 5-10 minutes go by. Well, the reason I called is I got shot this morning. Kind of like sheepishly, like, man, when you mess up in life, you're like, hey, I wrecked my car or whatever. Which I made those phone calls before also. But you hate to put your parents through that.
Sure.
And as a kid, young man, whatever, you don't really think about what folks back home feel. But then I had a chance to feel that when I went home. I came back to Georgia, did about 8 to 12 weeks of surgery and therapy. That I backfilled my spot over there. So if you want to go back over, you're going to go to battalion headquarters. You're not going back to your guys.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first struggle for me because I felt like I couldn't go back to my guys. I didn't want to go back and be a battalion. Later on, I kind of regret not going over again. Like, we could have got you back there again, even though I've been backfilled. But I went home. So I got, I was done being in Georgia early January. And then I was home, and they're over there. And so 2005 internet was kind of sketchy.
Right.
We had paid for like a little satellite dish overseas, and Skype was still kind of a new thing. And so I got to see what it was like to be the people at home, like hearing rumors, talking to folks. Oh, so-and-so got shot. Did so-and-so get shot? You're trying to figure out what's going on.
The whole story.
And you're feeling that like, man, because when you're in there, you're with the guys, and nothing else really matters. Like, it sucks. But like, you're next to your guy, he's good, and like stuff happens, and it's like, holy crap, like we got blown up or whatever. And it's like, you're good, I'm good, like cool. Like but when you're not there, you're thinking about, I've seen how crazy it could be. And it was hard being home when my guys were still over there. Like all my,
so you just had like admin staff back here at the, was it still in Mansfield or was it Wellsboro?
It was still in Mansfield. We didn't move till 2000, we were in Wellsboro at that point. We moved between Germany and Iraq. So we were in Wellsboro at that point, the new armory next to the prison at that point. So there was,
pretty empty.
Yeah. Like Tad was in Iraq with me in 2005.
Okay.
He was a tank commander over there. So he deployed with me.
I think I'm going to have to interview him the second time.
Yeah.
Because I kind of brushed over, like we didn't get into like what he actually did when he was deployed.
Tad is fun because Tad came to us from active duty.
Yeah.
And he's very laid back, but once in a while he got a little riled up, and he's a fun time. No, he's a good guy and a good guy.
So then you had a third deployment.
So then 2008, we deployed to Afghanistan, and that time we were in part of a PRT, a provincial reconstruction team.
Okay.
And so those teams were led by either Navy or Air Force, and they were more, we say, like the Hearts and Mind mission. So we had civil affairs attached to us. So we had a lot of doctors, we had dentists traveling with us, we had medical folks, and then civil affairs is all about like going out and investing. So I mean, we saw a lot of cash go through our hands of trying to like build schools, build banks, build conference centers. It was just a totally different flip of reality from in tanks. We were like the outer cordon for Marines doing inserts. Like we worked with the SEALs over there, and it was like, man, we're looking for a fight. We're bringing the muscle. Like they were in back alley fight. They call tanks around. We come in there and like things get quiet quick. Like it was cool to be like the big muscle. Flip sides Afghanistan, that was not our mission at all. So we would go out with folks. We were their security element. So say we're going to the hospital. We go in, we park outside, get our security set up, walk through, make sure it's safe, and then walk doctors in or whoever's in, show them around, and ensure they had a civil visit, go to different shuros and stuff. We had dentists come where we go out and do like actual village visits. And the kids all pull up and like, they don't want toothbrushes. Like we have toys they're all about, but like toothbrushes and soap. Right. They don't have time for that. They want the chocolate. They want the Coke. But it was just different. Like if there was any kind of like intel for hostility, it was like, nope, we're not going out today. It's not your mission. We're not endangering like our higher ups. So you just sit inside. Like we had a few times we had to go out with like our EOD, our exploding ordnance disposal teams. And that was where you felt like a little bit like, okay, we're doing stuff again. Like the risk. I was just always a risk of everything. My wife and I met over there. She was part of the Air Force group. She was our admin personnel. During that deployment. Okay. So we met for a little bit. We trained at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and then deployed over there. She was in the Air Force? She was in the Air Force. Okay. Yep. So that was 2008. My brother and I deployed again to that deployment. And that was kind of a lot of the same guys went from the Iraq deployment. And so it was kind of like, let's go do it again. And that was like the fun part where it's like, I don't know, majority of the guys were from Iraq. We've been through some fun stuff together. And for me, it was almost like my second chance to see something through. Like my brother and I both went home early in the first deployment. It was like we wanted to have like, no, we can go over and like make it through. But also in the back of your mind, you're like, I barely made it out of the last one. Like, what's this gonna hold? So like I did not. And dumb regrets of a young guy. We deployed in December for that one. So like in college, my semester's winding down. I told my professors, hey, I'm leaving early. Like, I'll work with you. But then the mindset comes up like, if I don't make it back, all this is for nothing. Right. So I started traveling, blew off school, and you got to pay those loans back. Yeah. So I wasted money by not finishing my semesters out twice. But in my mind, it was like, if I don't make it home, like obviously God has his plan for us. And like, I had so many folks praying for me the first time through, my mom had prayer chains, and I've met so many folks in the last 20 years of, you're Sam VanLoon. Yeah. I prayed for you. Yeah. And my parents have always been really good about making sure, supporting us, praying for us. My parents always put out a Christmas card every year. Yeah. With like updates to the family. And their mindset was like, if we can get people's refrigerators, we're on their thoughts, people are praying for you, looking over for you. Like, it's cool to know that many folks. Obviously, we have a very cool area we live in. It's very supportive, patriotic. Yep. But the thing about, 5 or 6 churches of prayer groups are praying for you. Like, God has a plan for us. And like, I mean, I'm looking through, the bullets, a foot off, and I'm not here anymore. Right. We had 4 folks who didn't make it home.
Right.
Who
It could have been 10.
Right.
You know.
Right. Who had similar shots. You know, I had a buddy who
Yep.
went through his earpiece.
Right.
But like, numerous folks that they finally managed to go close hatch. But like, my brother will tell you that if you've watched American Sniper,
Yep.
that's when we were there.
Yeah.
Our intel was there was a Syrian guy walking around. So like, my brother will tell you that I got shot by the Syrian sniper.
Mm-hmm.
True or not, but it's just like that's
Right.
what that's what we were dealing with someone who was a professional. It wasn't some random guy. Just I think it was someone who was legitimately trying to get one shot, a good shot, and then he would bug out and go somewhere else. Huh. So Afghanistan was much more docile compared to Iraq. But looking back, you know, young guys who never deployed before who are like, I want that, what you had. And it's like, you don't. Yeah, you do. Right. I crave that adrenaline rush again, but also like you think about the things we lost, it's like you don't want that kid. Like, and as a young guy, you do want to go out and have that bravado of like beating your chest and like being the warrior. But the warrior comes at a cost, obviously.
Sure does.
So,
and it lasts usually. On that second deployment, did you guys lose anybody else?
No, that was a very we had, I think, twice where there was attempted ambushes. Okay. But our main goal there was, we stayed local. We really monitored intel a lot, so we didn't do a lot of stuff. Yeah. The few times we had like ambush type stuff going on was we were going to Kandahar for like a mail run or supply run. We were a small outpost, and they couldn't always bring everything by helicopter, so we would go down there and bring stuff back. My brother was in a convoy once where they had 2 trucks like pull off, and they were able to weave through them fast enough. They got shot at, but it was all small arms fire, and nothing damaged us. Okay. Technology is really awesome. Unless it was a hardline IED, we were able to defeat a lot of them with electronic warfare, where you're blocking the signals. Okay. So you'd see other like Romanians who did not have the same technology we had. We're getting blown up quite a bit. Yeah. And we shared our base. There were about 800 Romanians on our base with us. Wow. So you'd hear those guys come back, blown up, shot up a little bit. Oh my goodness. And it makes you thankful for what you have for the U.S. technology. Because we really do have amazing technology. I didn't think of that. So, but yeah, it's they're different folks over there. Romanians are, personal space in the gym was not a thing on Romanians. It's like they're basically like pushing off the weight bench so they can get on next. It's just very interesting. They're characters. Yeah. We had a lot of fun working with them, but they're definitely
my brother goes cultures. To Romania. Well, he's gone every other year, but not in the last 5, I think. Okay. Yeah, it's a little dangerous over there right now, but and we know folks over there, missionaries, and they send letters back as to what's going on. But he knows the culture a lot better than I do. But okay, so then your fourth
was in 2020. So I came back from my Afghanistan deployment. Chris and I had like 4 kids in 4 years. Life got real busy as a family. Yeah. While we were in Afghanistan, they had pilots who rotated through like 2 weeks at a time doing the medevac type stuff.
Now, was she like out of the military by the time you're 5th, or was she also being deployed?
No, she's she after our second child was born, she decided she didn't want to deploy again. She had already deployed twice, once Iraq, once Afghanistan. Yeah. Almost did 6 years. And so she's like, I don't want to deploy as a mom. Yeah, yeah. So she got out between those deployments. In Afghanistan, we met some pilots. And I had not finished college yet. And I thought, if you want to be a pilot, you have to have a college degree. And that's why I met warrant officers for the first time. Okay. And warrant officers are their own little breed where college is great, but you're not required to have college. It's kind of a blend of an officer and an enlisted guy. And so I kind of was educated. There's a pathway to being a pilot without having all your college done. Come back home, life gets busy, raising family, and kind of forgot about that dream. I was at school to make E7 and got an email saying, hey, we're looking for folks to sign up for aviation. You'd be a good candidate. Would you be interested in doing that? So I was down at the Fort Hunt Gap for, I think it was a 5-week course. Emailed the guy back. While I was there, did a flight physical, and then took the AFAS, which is like a evaluation written test for aviation while I was there. That was in November of 2012. Did well on both those. Did a phone interview. I got heavy. I was like, oh, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing now. I was working the gas field at the time, got kind of burned out with the gas field. Like, I'm done with the gas field. I had 4 kids and went and worked with Clint Allen for a little while doing construction work. Okay. And so my phone interview comes and the guy calls me and he's like, so what do you do for work? I'm like, oh, I quit my job. Right. Like, what? I'm like, I'm not going to flight school. Like, I'm ready for that. I'm getting ready for that. And he's like, this is not guaranteed. This is my first like level of interview. I think he was a little irked that I had 4 kids at home, and I'm like, oh, I'll make job money on the side, working, doing some construction here and there. But I was just done with the gas field for a little bit there. Did well that oral interview. When Dad did a board interview with some higher ups and did well. And then May of 2013, I was leaving for flight school.
Wow.
And that's a long enough school where they'll PCS. You'll bring your whole family down with you. So
okay.
they came, packed our house up.
Wow.
My wife was super excited. She came from active duty lifestyle.
Yeah.
We lived in DC for a few years. We had our first 2 kids. So for her, it was very familiar to go back to that military lifestyle. She comes from a military family. Her dad was a F4 Phantom mechanic.
Okay.
He did it for before she was born. But she was in the Air Force. Her sister joined the Air Force. So she's the Air Force family. I had 2 brothers follow me. We're the Army family.
Yeah,
We kind of joke, say that, we work hard, they work smart. But so for her, that was like, you'll ask her, and that's like her favorite time of our, like, that was a really fun time for her because like life's simpler in the military. I wasn't running around for the gas field. We lived on post. There's playgrounds, there's pools, other families going through the same lifestyle you're going through.
Right.
I was home every night for the most part, aside from some of like the survival training and stuff. And so that was a 18-month time frame of warrant officer school, basic officer course, 3 weeks of SEER training, and then you get into your actual flight training. And you learn on smaller aircraft, do instrument flight, visual flight, and combat flight. And the cool thing about the Guard is the National Guard, 95% of the time you pick what aircraft you want to fly.
Oh, wow.
So at the time, Pennsylvania had the Apaches, the Chinooks, and the Blackhawks. I talked to 3 different communities about what I wanted to do. And I wanted to fly, and I had a buddy who flew Apaches, and he's like, he'd been a tanker prior. He's like, come to Apaches. I'm like, I just want to fly. Like, and it ended up being a good choice because Apaches went away like 2 years later.
Oh, wow.
From Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I was torn between the Blackhawk and the Chinook. And really at the end of the day, like, if you're flying, it's cool no matter what you're flying.
Yeah.
The Blackhawk was a little more versatile in what it can do mission set wise, so I ended up going with that. But everyone else at flight school, if you're active duty, you are competing for an aircraft. So it's an order of merit list. So everything's being evaluated and scored. And then at the end of that segment, you go into a room, and here's a whiteboard, and here's what the needs of the Army are today.
Right.
So it may be 5 Chinooks, 4 Blackhawks, and 2 Apaches. It could be 8 Apaches and 2 Blackhawks. Like, you may bust your butt and be the top person, and you still may not get what you want. But like, as a guardsman, you go down and you're like, I know what I'm going to fly. And it's kind of a little bit of peace of mind knowing that you're going to get what you want. But yeah, it was a fun time. Alabama was great.
Where was it?
Alabama.
Where in Alabama?
Fort Rucker.
Oh, no.
So between Enterprise and Ozark.
Okay. Is that northern Alabama?
No, it's lower.
Really?
I
was in Fort McClellan.
Okay.
Anniston, Alabama. That's kind of...
It's about an hour and a half from Destin or like Panama City area.
Oh, yeah. You're probably further south than I was. I was near like an hour from Montgomery.
Okay. We were like 2 hours south of Montgomery. We bought a bulldog from Montgomery when we were down at flight school. So, yeah. We figured, why not? Add a dog to the mix. It was intense. For me, the flying part came easier than the knowledge part. It was like going to college full time plus doing all the flight training. And I was 31 years old. Like, I was at the top of the age barrier pretty much. And then you have classmates from West Point who are like 22 in that college mindset. So it was definitely, I had to go to the library a lot just to make sure I was focusing on stuff. Like, it's challenging. And it should be challenging. Like, if I ever make it through, probably too easy in my opinion. But like, how bad do you want it? There was times I'd have a little more time. Like, I'd be fine on the flight part or the like knowledge part was just, it's a lot. It's a lot to master and put in time for. But there was times I questioned having my family down there because like I want to give them time. But I know if they'd been home, I would have been like missing them even more. So they love being there, and I'm glad they were there. But it was definitely how bad do you want it scenario a couple of times. Where it's like, I'll go back and be a tanker. It's fine. I don't need to do all this. But I'm glad I did. Deploying helicopters was definitely a treat. Got to go back to Iraq again. We were at Baghdad at the airport, and like Germany, it didn't feel like a real deployment.
Okay.
In Iraq, Afghanistan, like, you leave the wire, you leave the safe zone. You feel like you go out, you arm stuff up. When you're flying, like, you go from safe spot to safe spot. And anymore, being in Iraq in 2005 versus 2020, it's just night and day difference. Flying over spots I was at 15 years prior. It's not all blown up. The roads are all fixed. There's palm trees. Like, it's like
totally
kind of cool. It's like, I'll go visit there actually. We're stationed at a Department of State compound. Lights never go off. There's folks in civilian clothes. There's restaurants. There's beauty parlors. There's, it didn't feel like it was very comfortable. If I was a single guy, I would have stayed on as a contractor. They tried the maintenance test pilot. There was job opportunities over there to make good money and have a good life over there. But basically, folks would fly into the airport, and we would shuttle them over to the embassy via helicopter.
Okay.
So like we had the morning shift over there, so we were around from like 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. But yeah, folks would land with us, and we fly them over there. Or fly them to other spots on like sometimes there wasn't planes going on the weekends to other bases. But our bread and butter was just flying in and out of the embassy.
Okay.
So you're flying generals and higher ups over to the embassy and dropping them off and coming home again.
Wow.
And pretty fun last deployment. It was a nice way to kind of finish up my career. I came back and debated on getting in and out. I stayed in for another few years.
Okay.
I was actually getting ready to leave the area. I had a full-time job at the Gap as a maintenance test pilot, the federal technician. So I was Monday through Thursday. I did 4 10s in a row, and I came home for the weekends.
Okay.
We were working on houses down there, and so it was that was probably the best job I had.
Yeah.
It just the kids weren't ready to leave what we have here.
Yeah.
The market was crazy down there for houses.
Sure.
But yeah, I've had for someone who kind of joined on a whim, never really gave it much thought. 17-year-old Sam would not think that I would have 4 deployments and 24 years in the military.
Yeah.
Meet my wife. It's just like that's the big thing. You say yes to one thing, you have no idea you've changed the entire path of your life. So I encourage folks like maybe it's not.
Hey, don't go there. That's my last question.
All right, sorry. All right, I'm rambling here.
So I guess I kind of can guess what the most impactful situation was, but out of your career, whether it was positive or negative, what would you say was the most impactful experience you've had in the military?
Oh man,
I guess it can be more than one, but
yeah, there's a lot. I would say Iraq was a very intense time for me. And there's times you question like, why are we doing this? People talking as soldiers, we go and we do the mission that someone else told us to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of human parts of that too. Thinking about who are you going against, and you and I have never seen a true force on force battle. We don't go over and I thought about folks from World War I, World War II. Like those guys had it rough. Like waiting on a letter, living in the trenches. Like we're pretty spoiled in modern warfare for the most part. You're still at war, but having air conditioning and cell phones and internet it's very westernized, and even when you're over the Middle East.
Right.
But Iraq was definitely impactful. I did a lot of soul searching. Coming home, I had some dark spots. I got heavy into alcohol when I came home from my 2005 deployment. I worked in construction, living downtown Mansfield. I walked to Marsh Brothers. And in a small town, everyone knows who you are and what you've gone through. So like everyone would buy me drinks. And I'd be a happy guy for the first few. And then I would get pretty like, because people say, hey, like, how was it? And you're telling them, and it's like, they don't
appreciate it. Or
like, I think they appreciate it, but I feel like to me, I'm like, they're never going to understand what I went through. And then I would get like, be an angry person. And like, I just had to like step away hardcore. I was starting to help with the youth group in Canton. And I'm like, who am I? Where I'm going to be this belligerent jerk on one night. And then try to come and be this positive person. And like, so I had to like stop, like, all right, I just need to like time out. Like, what am I doing? And it's easy to get in that slump where it's like this stuff, because it's a struggle. Like there's days like there was dark spots. And I think I was justified to have those emotions, like losing someone in front of you and getting shot yourself. Like getting shot myself really was like very minimal impact. Like it's a cool story to tell. I have a fun scar. But I wouldn't like people. Like, to me, it was not a near-death experience. I've had worse car accidents where I'm like, holy cow, I'm alive. Like getting shot for me was a very like surreal experience. Obviously having Ryan was like, that was a very like challenging. That was,
that's what I'm thinking is like,
that's like a part where it's like, okay, like what are we doing? Why, a lot of anger, a lot of questioning, a lot of like, okay, like that's probably like high/low point, like honor to serve with honor what we did over there, but like going through that, just like, okay, this is, but like it's why you train. Like we had a pretty Sergeant First Class Wood, my guy at that point. We trained down in Mississippi. There was like a minimum training you had to go through the tank simulator, like go through this many gates of training, and then you're good. And we kept going. It's like, why are we doing this? And it was around the clock. We go like, oh, our time's at 2:00 this morning, whatever you go. And he's like, what are we training for right now? we're not training for a competition. We're not training for like just the standard. Like we're going to war. So like at the end of the day, like I'm glad he put the gravity on of like this is for real. Like when you go over, you want to make sure you've done everything you could do. Like I'm sure I was never a super hard athlete where I was like I'm training for championship, whatever. But that's a mindset of like you're training for the worst possible scenario. And so I'm glad I had leadership that was like that didn't just do the bare minimum. They actually like we're doing this because we're going to a place where you're gonna need every advantage you have or could have. But then like my second time in Iraq, I was maintenance test pilot. So like there's a lot of accountability when you're overseeing the fleet. And I was the only one from my group in Baghdad overseeing our group. And we had a trip to Syria one day. Went up to Jordan, got fuel, and then up to Syria to drop some stuff off. And we were taking off from a place, got fuel, so we're heavy with extra fuel pods, and my roommate was lead. He took off and lost an engine on taking off.
Oh, wow.
And like crashed in front of me. He got down safe, but in the moment, like I'm on the radio calling it out, like what's going on? I'm calling back down there. It's just I'm responsible for the aircraft. So any aircraft, like, oh, hey, it's good enough for today's mission. That was on me. So the investigation, I was like the pilot in command. I was the mission commander for that day. And then as a maintenance test pilot, it's like a lot of tough questions. So like looking through the records history, all the maintenance stuff. And then once again, kind of like, okay, why are we doing this? Like, why do we check stuff? Why do we do this? Like, because flying is a activity where you take it for granted. Like you're doing, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. But you can't just pull over and check on something when a noise goes wrong or something fails. Like you're up there. And that like, it's the worst thing. You're slow, you're heavy, and you have no altitude to recover. Yeah. And just that was a really impactful one too. Like kind of like, yep, I can go and answer the questions and know that I've done everything I could with that aircraft, made sure it was the best aircraft it could be. Right. Was it perfect? No, but we'd done all our proper checks. And they could scrutinize me and say, yep, you did your job correctly. And like, okay, I'm glad we didn't cut corners or be like, we'll fix that thing later. Or we'll do that later. Like a lot of accountability is, I don't know, we get lackadaisical or complacent is a huge thing in the military. Like don't be complacent because you get comfortable. You do the same thing over and over again. And it's that one day where it's not the same. And you're like, you take it for granted. But that was probably another impactful thing for my career. It was like, this is why we check, double check stuff, do all our stuff, because lives are in the, lives are in limbo when you're out there flying. So,
I think a follow up to that is, how do you think the military and your experience there has like helped or inhibited your life today?
I'd be a liar to say it's not been a lot of advantages. I mean, it's all who you know. There's so many connections I've made to the military I would not have made in my civilian life. And all the leadership training I've gone through, all the money that's been invested in me in the military or the government rather, it's like flying, getting your pilot's license. I've not done that in the civilian side. I think at some point I will go back to flying again, but like I was paid to learn how to fly and then paid to go fly around this world. I've flown to California and Texas and seeing the United States from a helicopter is like, not everyone can do it, obviously, but it's a really cool way to see the change in scenery and see stuff like those are from like of my highlights of my life is like flying to California in a 4-day trip or flying to Texas. Like it's giving opportunities that I would never had otherwise. Obviously, coming into office, I think that was some folks voted for me purely because I was a military person. Like right or wrong, I hope no one's regretted doing that. But like that is like a certain perception of, oh, he's done this, and that.
Yeah, there's like an understanding.
You gain trust per se. You gain like, people have confidence in you. So even in the gas field, the military stuff, it's looked upon positively everywhere. That's why I encourage folks like, hey, like maybe not forever, but like go there and get a trade, get a skill, get some experience, and maybe it's not for forever. But if you don't have a set plan, like you can go do 4 years, 6 years, and like, and then walk away with something out of it. Like. Everyone wonders my kids are going to the military, and like if they want to, that's great. I'll support them and be the advocate for them. And like there's things my parents didn't know, like questions you should ask your recruiter, like knowing that when you're sitting there, like the ball's in your court, like you have a lot of negotiating power. Once you sign, you're kind of locked into stuff. And
that's right.
With my wife and I both having experience, we can kind of like check this because her dad did it for her. Dad's like, ask this question, ask that question. I'm curious to see if they do pursue that, but if folks ask me, I'm not going to force anybody to join the military. I think it's not just infantry. It's not just whatever. There's so
That's
many
right.
opportunities out
Yeah.
there. If you want to do multimedia, if you want to do accounting, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a dentist, like there's so many supporting roles that literally a spot for almost anyone. I mean, not everybody, obviously. There has to be standards, and that's one of the questions people talk about is standards in the military. I'm like, at the end of the day, if you and I are side by side and I get shot, can you drag me out of there? You know, like it's nothing personally against any individual, but if you are not physically able to do the job,
that's right.
Like it needs to be exclusive to a certain degree, and it's not excluding anybody. It's just making sure that you can do that task. And that's the hard part. You have some fun talks with folks about, well, this shouldn't be this way, it shouldn't be that way, and it's like when you break it down to the bottom line, there's standards for a reason.
Lives are at risk.
Lives are at risk. You know, it's just, and there's civilian jobs you can do to support the military. Like, so if you want to, maybe you can't make it in. There's tons of agencies that go in as civilians, and you can still support the military and be a part of that federal program. So
interesting.
But
that was my final question: was if a 16, 17, 18-year-old guy or gal came in and asked or said, "I'm looking to join the military," what would be your advice?
And I talked to at Liberty High School. One of my platoon leaders from Afghanistan runs a military prep program. And it's mostly juniors and seniors, but it's a cool way to kind of. He's given them kind of a taste of it, you know. So I do enjoy talking to younger kids who are in that 9th plus category, grade wise. And I know I wasn't thinking about it at that age. You know, some people are super hardcore at 10th grade, like I'm doing this job, and it's like cool. I think there's more often there's kids who are like not thinking about it. So when I've gone and spoke at schools for like Veterans Day or different things, I try to always put a little plug in there, like ask questions. Like it may not be for everybody, obviously, but like. Maybe whatever you want to do. You want to run heavy equipment. Like I could have done that for the military as an engineer. Now there's so many opportunities out there that everyone has a chance, I think, to serve in some capacity. If you can do high school sports, you can probably make it through.
Right. I think you had a good point about before you sign, you have leverage. And, just realizing that is a card in your deck. Because I remember I had signed up. I was locked in to diesel mechanic. What you said is exactly what I wanted to do is if I'm going to go through all this adversity, I might as well come out with something useful. So I figured diesel mechanic. So it was like 2-3 days before I was supposed to ship to boot camp. And the call is like, hey, we had some last minute changes. We had to throw somebody your MOS and this is what we have available. And mentally you're ready to go. You know? So it's like, do I sit and wait 3-4 months and hope my MOS comes, or do I just take what they got and go now? And weather was a factor too, because it was boot camp in South Carolina. I was like, if I go down in February, then I'll be out in the spring. It was still hot, but
that's the thing. I've had folks who I know, people who work here, who kids are going through. I'm like, if you can wait, say that job you want, it only trains twice a year. It's 6 months. Like, if you want it bad enough, it might be worth the wait. To say, no, I'll hold off and call their bluff. You know, because there is like the needs of the military right now might be whatever the certain job title over here. And so not that they're bad jobs, but if you really have a passion for some specific job, I tell people like hold out for or negotiate for. Like it's because once you sign, it's it's a little too late.
I think that was probably my biggest regret. Is not holding out. I went in for NBC. So I was still attached to a it was in 40 Fort near Scranton, Wilkesboro area. And it was the driving and mechanic unit. And I was just their NBC guy. So but still cool stuff.
Still cool stuff.
Got good experience.
You hope you never have to use those skills, obviously. But
So, all right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for asking me. Hopefully I don't ramble too much.
No, rambling's good. Like my first 6 or 7 videos were like 7 or 8 minutes long. And then Tad went and blew the hour marker. And then the fireman, he was about 45 minutes. So it was good. But this is perfect.
Cool. Great.